CGL Breakdown Podcast recording day.
Yes, sir.
I'm Witty Calf. Joining in, the man right there, Skate.
Yes.
It's a nice Sunday afternoon here. How you doing today before we dive into our little action items that we got going on?
I'm actually doing pretty good. Even though I think I slept kind of funny, I've got this like sore neck. So you see my neck doing some weird stuff for whatever reason. It's been hurting today, something fierce. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well, man.
Hey, the beard's looking awfully beautiful, my
man,
brother.
It is really coming in, isn't it? Like it's its own entity at this point. There's me, and then there's Skate's beard. I'm waiting for the Skate's beard Twitter handle to be made and just tweet on it.
Friday, I bought a beard straightening comb, and then 12 hours later, I decided to shave everything off. And I got the comb yesterday.
Yeah,
but,
good.
I am one. I do tend to let it grow out a bit between cuts. So
yeah.
At least when it grows out again in a couple weeks, I'll be able to try that puppy out. So I'm excited about that. But that's good. The Bearded Brothers continuing.
Yeah, I got a question about that though. So it's a straightener. Is it one that does like the steam, or is it one that does like a hot plate? How does it straighten? Because I'm curious about those and if they even work very well.
When I use it, I'll definitely be able to tell you, but I know I know like the bristles themselves, I pulled it out of the box yesterday, I was like rubbing it on my face to, if you brush your hair, you gotta make sure it feels good on your face.
Yes.
So it seems like there is a hot plate. There's like 3 different heat settings depending how the length of your beard they have on there.
Nice.
But it looks like hot plate and then ceramic yet bristly bristles are on there.
Okay.
So, like it definitely feels like a brush, but I believe the tips are ceramic so you don't burn your face.
That would make sense.
The review said this doesn't burn. That is a fear in the back of my head that I'm going to put a
just gonna scald your face as you're trying to
iron
straighten
on
the
my
beard.
face.
Yeah, I could see that happening. That doesn't sound good at all.
Because it's why I've avoided ever straightening my beard. But I have wavy hair, so when my beard grows out, it just does whatever it wants.
Yeah,
and
I can see that. As you can see, mine gets a little bit wavy on the bottoms. I don't know if it's coming through on the video, but yeah, it gets that way a little bit at the end. Yeah, so I think it's just a beard thing. I use the shampoo, the conditioner, the oil, the balm.
Oil.
The balm I love.
Yep.
The beard balm is the
balm's
best.
Great.
Anybody that has a beard, check out some beard balm. It's life-changing.
Yep, get the beard balm. So I'm hoping that this, incorporated with that routine, means that when I grow my beard out, it's never wrong to have the best beard if you're a man that grows facial hair. So fingers crossed for that. If there is a time where we do this podcast and 2 sides of my face are redder than an apple, you'll know that the brush burned.
Well, I would hope it wouldn't be both sides. It would just be the one side. You didn't just like
true.
It said like, oh, that side burned.
commit.
Let me try this other side and see if I get the same result.
You gotta fully commit sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I see.
So the full reviews to come there, but
sounds good.
So let's dive into it. Friday night, as I was driving around and I turned the Twitch on, the second doubleheader week of Friday Night Overwatch happened.
Oh yeah.
2 interesting games. Skate, I know you called the first one. We had
Absolutely.
Baihu versus Dignity. I know what I saw, but as the man that called the action, what would you see in this game? And how was the casting experience with something like this?
It's one of those situations where you're trying to work your way through it, and the game it isn't like the week before where the story kind of told itself and it was a tight match, and all things considered it was very contestable. This one was a little bit one-sided for the most part, unfortunately. It just seemed like the side of Baihu was outgunned for pretty much the entire match there. So to call that, and it was an interesting experience, not one that I'm really used to, but you make use with what it is. Dignity is a very, very good squad. They they have some insanely strong DPS that are enabled by the great play of their supports, which is wild. So they're able to get in there and pocket their DPS and kind of let them run wild and do whatever they want. And the tanks are taken care of by the other support. So it was a very impressive team. Dignity is one I expect to make the playoffs at this point, being 4-0 and with a high map differential. I mean, they're 15-2 on maps. They've only dropped 2 maps in 4 weeks, which is very, very impressive. I'm not sure what it looked like from your end as we were trying to. We got some clips rolling for the video watchers here, but for the audio listeners, it was it was one-sided, we'll say.
I'll tell you what, that Genji, as the Route 66 clips are rolling now, that was the one map where like I really got to pay attention and really focus on what was doing. I thought Baihu played well that map.
Yeah, I thought they did too.
When Dignity was on attack, I know just multiple times their Genji just did whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you're right, the support, when your support players enable DPS like that to just wreak havoc, no matter how well you're playing, if you're going up against DPS like that at any rank, it's so hard to overcome. And I just thought Dignity, just any time that they wanted to do and like had to do something, they were able to do it. That team's going to be a force in that tier.
Oh yeah,
15-2 on maps, up 13 after 4 weeks. Whew.
Yeah, that's almost a lock at that point because we're a 9-week season. They're 4-0 with that. Like, it would take a bit of a disaster at this point. You would have to go 2-3 down the stretch with some bad map scores, I think, to get left out of the playoffs. So they are almost a lock. I think they joined 3 or 4 other teams that are still undefeated. One of the undefeateds did fall last night. I hate to say it. The Saga Tier 3 Fighting Dick Dicks got rolled last night. We just got taken out to the woodshed on Bullskunk's channel. If you missed it, it was not good. It was not pretty. And by the end of it, it was just one of those times where it's like, nothing was working for us no matter how hard we tried. It was just an off day for the most part for everyone. We all made mistakes, and the 4th map, we're just laughing about it, just coming up with the most obscene excuses and just trying to enjoy ourselves, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's Tier 3 console Overwatch. You can only take it so seriously.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask you, my team, I'm repping the Arc Flash jersey right now.
I've heard of such
if
teams.
you are watching this. I'm the Tier 1 main tank. We're 0-3. We have our game tonight at 8 p.m. But we've done a good job, although we haven't clicked and been able to, get the win.
Yeah.
Our morale's actually still pretty good. You were 3-1, and this kind of leads into a question about Dignity. You took that first loss. It seems that the morale was still pretty high during that 4th map, but do you think that's something that could linger if, say, they get into week 5, week 6, and finally take that first loss? Or do you think, you got to put that behind you and rebound and try to just put that foot forward?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I think I've always been a fan of losing early if you're going to lose, not that losing late, because when you lose late, you've kind of been in this mode of just winning, and you don't know if your team even knows how to lose. So what you get into is a situation where you get a lot of infighting sometimes within the team because there's frustration. They don't understand why they're losing when they've been doing nothing but winning. So it's an interesting dynamic, and every team is just different. But it seems like probably more often than not, it's worked out better for the team that maybe has that early loss, because they have experienced that loss as a team and have rebounded to get back to that position. And for a team that hasn't lost, you just don't know if they can rebound or not. So I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, and that's what's unique about not only console gaming, but just like sports and competitiveness in general.
And I believe this was the game, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dignity isn't a team that's been around for like 2 or 3 tournaments. I
Right.
believe you guys said they're kind of like a mishmash of orgs that had fallen out. So
Yes.
that's another thing. Like if you've played together, like your Saga crew's been around for a while, Arc Flash has been around for a while.
Yeah.
Like those are teams that, like, all right, you've lost before, you've won before, so you kind of have that ability to know how your team's going to rebound. I mean, they're 15-2 on maps right now. They're 4-0. They're rolling, but that could be interesting to see if they lose, next week or later in the season, how that team that hasn't gone through the trials and tribulations together, if they can pull it together, if that's something that just wedges something there and breaks that team apart. But so far, 4-0, 15-2, they're not even thinking about that right now.
Yeah, at this point, you can't worry about that loss. You just worry about it's the next week, and you just worry about winning. And you may never have to know if your team can rebound from a loss. I mean, depending on how it goes, the way they looked Friday night, I could see them running the table in the regular season. Absolutely. There are probably 3 or 4 teams at this point, I think, that can run the table in the regular season. And because we have so many teams in Tier 3 and the way the schedule works out, it looks like there are 2 or 3 of those teams that don't even play each other. So we may have a handful of undefeated teams heading into the playoffs, meaning you do not want to have more than 2 losses in Tier 3 right now. Tier 3 Xbox NA, like, after 2 losses, I think you're out.
That's crazy because, I mean, we're going to talk about when we go into Wholesome Squad versus DS Assassin, but normally you're, like, every tier you're in, like, there's teams. Like, I used to do the standings, like, I've done them since, outside of this year, since every tournament we've ever had. There's teams that are, like, around 500 winning percentage that sneak into that second or last spot.
Yeah, they get a tiebreaker and they sneak in or something, yeah.
But you're right, with Tier 3, the strength of the top of Tier 3 and the amount of teams, 2 losses, like, you could end that season 7-2, looking good.
And you could miss the playoffs at 7-2
you can miss.
as well. Yes, absolutely. Which is why that map point thing is so important. So even if you have those losses, you want to make sure and try and get as many map points. So if you do go down 3-0, don't give up, because that, if you can rally and get that 4th map even in that loss, that could be the difference between you making the playoffs or not.
We've seen it time and time again. The teams that used to get those 3-0s, now that we play 4 maps, now those teams that get 4-0s or win 3-1 and then can avoid that draw on a map, where instead of winning 2-1, you win 3-1. Those are the teams that at the end of this regular season, that's your difference makers and the team that can put you over the edge. I've seen these teams with same records but just 2 map point differential, and that team misses out even with the same record, and that's heartbreaking. So you're right, go for those 4-0s, go for that 3-1. Don't give up on that 4th map. Even if you've lost, it can come down to being make or break those last 2 weeks to the season. So we did see the Tier 3 action there, and this was what Wholesome Squad versus DS Assassin was Tier 5 for the second game of the doubleheader here. Is that Tier 5?
That was, I believe it was Tier 5. Tier 5 PS4 NA is what that was.
Ooh.
Our first PS4 action on Friday Night Overwatch, which we were ecstatic to get PS4 on there. We've been wanting to, and the cards kind of fell in a way that we were able to. And what's kind of funny about that is the captain of Wholesome Squad, Supreme Penguin, had been messaging me every week before the season started,
awesome.
And leading up, hey, we want to get our team streamed. And the way it fell, we wanted to get PlayStation. We needed somebody in the 9 o'clock time slot. It just so happened that they were sitting there against, what was it, NSA or DSA? The Archangels. And so we decided to take a chance on it. We had some technical difficulties for those that watched live in the middle. At some point when Sultan switched from the PlayStation to the Xbox, the capture card just decided it was done for the night, apparently. So I don't know if there was an issue with now this is going to get kind of nerdy. If there was an issue with the HDCP, the high definition copy protection that's built into like the cables and the cards and stuff, if it was actually just preventing the signal from going to the card because you switched devices, which it may have, but we tried resetting it, nothing would work. We disabled the card, re-enabled it, restarted the PlayStation, everything we tried, it just would not come back up. So at halftime, Swift actually took over the double duty like I did during the first week of Friday Night Overwatch when we had other issues, because it wouldn't be Friday Night Overwatch if we didn't have technical difficulty issues. So yeah, something has to go wrong. It can't go flawless, but it in a way it gives Friday Night Overwatch some character. So
That's
you know,
right.
you come to expect the unexpected, which has kind of happened so far here with each week of Friday Night Overwatch. And with that being said, we had a first-time winner on Friday Night Overwatch on the side of the Wholesome Squad, getting that first W of the season. We alluded to it in the pre-show and in between the two maps that, hey, they don't have a win yet, but they were looking like they were trending towards a win, as the week before they had lost, I think, 2-1-1. So they had gotten a map, gotten a draw, and then lost the other two. So that's how close it was. And then they ended up flipping that around and got the 2-1-1 win, which was awesome to see in a fairly highly contested matchup.
Yeah, this was a very good game. And Skate, you got to give yourself credit, brother, because you, in the pregame, we're talking about how they were trending upward each and every week, getting better. So, hey,
I'm becoming like, you know, I'm the Chris Berman at this point. So I'm just gonna make these predictions and just knock them out. I'm gonna start calling individual map scores at some point and just throwing them out there. You know, what's funny. So this year, you know, a lot of states actually got legalized like sports gambling, which has been a you know, big topic of conversation. And you know, I partake a little bit, being sports fans and being in a place where we can. Obviously, you're in a place where you can kind of gamble on a little bit. Our states did it.
Yes.
Man, at some point, esports has to get on there since we don't have any regular sports, right? Like, when can we start setting these lines?
How many matches of Russian badminton and table tennis?
Right, it's table tennis. That's all that's on there is just table tennis, it seems like. And everybody's last name is like 26 consonants long. It's the weirdest thing.
They're about the same. They're the same length. You just don't know. So you don't know who you're betting on.
No.
It's one letter off. You don't know if you're going to win or lose that bet.
You don't even know if you can find a way to watch it at this point. I don't even know how you watch that.
I don't think ESPN has enough channels to find a way to put that on.
I don't think they do.
They need to find a way to get esports on there, whether it be PC. How about console watch? Put console watch up there. You know, enough people are watching, and enough people want to bet. People love money, and they love to either somehow walk away with more or walk away with less and keep going and keep going. That's why casinos stay open so much, and that's why Las Vegas rakes in so much money. So get that on there, keep everybody happy. This game was very competitive. Wholesome Squad 2-1-1 victory, as you mentioned. I do want to say I think we had the production problems because Mazza spent so much time hating on 2CP. The Overwatch gods don't like that.
The Overwatch gods. He mentioned that you know, he had talked to Jeff Kaplan, which is funny. You know what? I should pull that up right now. Let me switch up. I have proof for anybody that thinks that Mazza may have just been, you know, on one and he didn't actually meet Jeff Kaplan. I want you guys to check this out right here. I'm gonna bring it in for you folks. Let me fix the thing here. Let's drop this one here. There you go. Here is your proof. There is Mazza with the man. So there is the proof. Mazza did meet with Jeff Kaplan and have a conversation with him. So we had this ready. So sidebar, we had this ready for Mazza being on stream in case he couldn't run his camera. I think he was running into some bandwidth issues, so he was worried about the camera coming through and affect the audio. So we had this as his backup image if that was ever going to happen. But yeah, so there it is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mazza with Jeff Kaplan, Papa Jeff.
He disrespected Papa Jeff, and someone who listens to this, you gotta find him, make the meme of Mazza saying like Mazza hates 2CP, and then a picture of Jeff Kaplan's face with the red eyes.
Yes, like he
You talk
starts
bad.
glowing red. Yeah,
and he craps all over the Friday Night Overwatch production for PS4. But good job by Swift to fix that. We got a good game there, and look, we're streaming a lot of games. The whole production crew, everyone that has capability of streaming for PS4 and for Xbox, are doing a great job getting the games out there. NSB United has been making top play videos, so
yeah.
if you stream or if your team's streaming, capture those clips, get them over to him, get in the weekly highlight video package that he's been putting together. Phenomenal stuff. Want to give him some credit for that. And
yeah, there is a gameplay channel with a pinned message on the
Yep.
form for that. So it is, I think it's gameplay share in the Overwatch Discord. There was a link, I think a couple of responses up that had the Google Doc that you, or the Google form, I should say, that you submit your clips to, and I went ahead and pinned that in the channel right before we went live. So it should be in there and pinned at the top. It's a message from Swift. It's got the form. Send them in, and we want to make them a little bit longer. They've been fairly short because he hasn't been getting a lot of clips, but I tell you what, his production value, he's knocking it out of the park so far. It looks awesome.
yeah, that looks phenomenal. And what's better than getting that team wipe or a good 4-man, whatever, some team obliterating play, and seeing that in a video package like a week later, so you can, cap that, send that to your friends, and brag that they're not on the weekly highlight video, but you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you gotta have those bragging
get
rights.
The clips in. And we did talk about PS4 production.
Yeah.
I learned this when I opened our show sheet. So this is phenomenal news here. Skate, why don't you tell us what just happened yesterday?
Well, I didn't really prep for this. I should have just had it over here so I could just hold up, the controller, since I've always got the Xbox controller. But imagine in this hand a PlayStation 4 controller that's sitting over there on my couch, because Skate now owns a PlayStation. So yesterday I went out one of the Walmarts that is somewhat close to me. It's about, I think, 12 miles from my house. It's the next town over. I live in a very suburban area, so, it's next town over type country out here. So their Walmart actually had one in. After I got off Friday Night Overwatch, I happened to check, because I've been checking all week. Nobody has them in stock. The only ones you could get were the 1 terabyte PS4 Pro, and if I'm being honest, I didn't feel like shelling out $400 for a system that's going to be outdated at the end of the year. So I was looking on Walmart, and I decided, well, let me see if anybody happens to have them. Maybe they've restocked. It's been a few days since I checked. Sure enough, that Walmart had a PS4 Slim 1 terabyte for $300 in stock, and I said, give me. I'm not going to take a chance. I don't have to worry about, spending, $250 on a possibly used one from, who knows what person on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. So, just having that site to store pickup, it was ready the next day. They were closed when I had ordered it, because a lot of the stores are closing due to the COVID-19 stuff going on. But I was able to order it online, pick it up the next day. And actually, what's interesting, if for some reason you guys don't own Overwatch, Walmart actually has the Legendary Edition, which is the current edition of Overwatch you can buy. It's normally $60 on the individual console stores on Xbox and PlayStation. It looked like $60 on there. Walmart had it for $35, and I could pick it up site to store. So I picked that up same day, saved myself an extra $25 there. So we are ready to roll. I really did pick that up so I could play Final Fantasy VII. But the side, on the side, I can also stream PlayStation Overwatch now as well.
Double benefits, and for real, you just saved $100. You did the right thing buying that when you could, because they either don't have them, they're ridiculously expensive, or you have to buy it from some random dude who probably tried to load a disc and instead put baloney in there. You never know.
You never know
what these people are selling.
That happens.
So think you did a great job. That was a smart decision, and that's absolutely awesome. We will say this every week, I'm sure, but PS4 definitely needs more producers to get more of the games done. So if you are inspired by Skate, get that PS4, get producing, get more PS4 coverage. It's all mutually beneficial here. So
man, I don't know if I should be an inspiration to people. I don't. That's a terrible idea. I should not be inspiring anyone.
Skate, you put the picture of Mazza up there without even us having the fact that I was going to bring up that he jinxed it. So that's why you are an inspiration, my brother.
It just happens to be sitting on my desktop still. He sent it to me like 2 weeks ago, and it's still sitting there in case I need it. So we needed it.
It came in clutch.
Yeah, it happens. More reason to check out the video version of this podcast as well.
That's right. Peep this video edition for sure. You definitely want to see that. To move off of Overwatch, yesterday we did have our Battlefield 12-man semifinals. I don't have any results. I don't think Skate does either, but we will get those, and we'll get those over to you hopefully for next week's show. But that did happen. It was streamed sometime yesterday.
On CGL2 yesterday. So that's where the VOD is if you want to check that out. CGL_2 on Twitch. I unfortunately didn't get to check it out either. I was busy, buying a PlayStation and being out and about and stimulating the economy, as it were, yesterday.
That's right. This man thinks of the people.
I am a man of the people.
So, yeah, it's hopefully we'll have results for that and get that to you and summarize that for you next week. But we do have registrations live for a couple events, and we got registration should be up for another event in a week or two. So let's talk about that. We brought this up last week, but next Saturday is the Call of Duty Warzone tournament.
Oh yeah.
$150 prize pool. That's April 25th, next Saturday, live on CGL1. Registration is live on the website, as is signups along with the rule book. So go to consolegamingleague.com/COD. That is COD for those that play Call of Duty. Get in there.
Yes.
It's threes. It's going to be a good time.
Yes, it is squads, so it is threes.
Squad up, get that money, and that should be fun. Next Saturday, if you're not playing, watch it.
I'm not sure what we're doing yet for production. I may be on production for that as well at this point. I'm still waiting to see, because I know Corbeck was interested in calling that action. Maybe we'll get the dream team together from Friday Night Overwatch to call that action, since him and I have both actually played Warzone a few times together. But if I'm not involved in the production, I may myself be playing in that, because I scoped the rules a little bit there, and I don't know how anybody else is going, but I have still yet to get that coveted win in Warzone. But a win is not the only way to get points in that tournament.
Hey,
you didn't see.
Okay.
You get points for a few different placements, but you also get points for each death. So each kill. So not each death. Each kill that you get, and each 1,000 damage you do. So there is a way to accumulate a lot of points without even winning.
Ooh, okay, so that's interesting. If you're that team that you do damage, you survive, but you can't. Like me, I can survive. I can do damage.
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of kills. I die more often. I guarantee you, my KD in any battle royale is not above 1. So that's good for those players. That
it rewards some aggression there.
Exactly.
You don't have to just sit back and wait, because I think that is the kind of the strategy, is you do want to kind of camp out a little bit and let some of it get out of your way in order to make those deep runs. But it does reward a little bit of that aggression if you do get taken out early in games.
So you're going to see a lot of different play styles from teams in this event. So that's always fun, especially since it's our first event in this game, to show the viewers different play styles. I'm sure you're going to get Oh, I always think that helps, because then you kind of get eyes and respect from all your different types of players, because not everyone plays the same way.
Right.
So that'll be interesting. Just keep signing up. Try to win that money, $150 in threes. You're splitting that up $50 a piece for signing up. If you win,
Yeah.
you're going to take that. You're going to take that. It's an extra little stimulus for your wallet and for playing video games. So that's always good.
And if you for some reason you don't want to play in it, but you are interested, make sure to tune in and check that out. It's going to be a fun one to see. You'll see kind of how we handle the action for a battle royale style game like that. If you've never seen it, it's very unique in the way that we have to get that production out to you folks. So we do some interesting things. We do a little quad box action there for a little bit, where you'll see 3 or 4 people on the screen at once playing, and then we'll cut into a few different individual games that folks are in, and try to keep you updated as the tournament is going along.
It's definitely nonstop action. You get to see a whole lot. You get a lot of different viewpoints. So very excited for that. That is, once again, next Saturday. I don't have an event start time. That is next Saturday. That'll be on CGL1, the main Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Sign up on the website. Get that out there. And I know an announcement will be made as signups close and we get everything ready and set up. So if you're in the Discord server, whether it be the Call of Duty one, or I'm sure even the main CGL Discord, there will be information there. So stay tuned and pay attention to that. And then following weekend, how about that? Back-to-back weekends. We go from Call of Duty Warzone next Saturday to the following Saturday. Halo 5 Guardians 2v2 tournament, another $150 prize pool. That'll also be on CGL1. And I know that the tweets and the Instagram posts and the Facebook post just came out for that. Like, yeah, Friday, Saturday. So that is all on the website as well, consolegamingleague.com/Halo. Promo and registration is live, rulebook live as well. So get involved with that. Halo, a game that I know Skate and I never really dabbled in, but I know the Thanksgiving event we had was very interesting, and there was a lot of good participation in that. I think you're going to see that again. Halo seems to be chomping at the bit for some love and some action.
Yeah, anybody that's seen competitive Halo, this is your chance to get a taste of that action. Have you seen it's what is the Halo Championship Series? Is that the name of it? Yeah, I got to check out a little bit of that last year at South by Southwest, because they actually had an event going on, the finals of it at South by Southwest, which was a cool experience. So it's not one that I am as familiar with, but I do enjoy watching a bit of that action. So that was something, and this will be definitely worth checking out, even if you don't play Halo.
Yeah, for someone that's terrible at shooters, watching people that are good at it is always impressive. And Halo has always been a game where I never really played it, so I didn't fall in love with it. But I always thought watching people play it was cooler than me playing it for some reason. But that's good. That means I'll be checking in. I'll definitely be watching that. That's once again May 2nd live on CGL1. So sign up and watch that, and hopefully good luck to all the teams that are going to enter that. And to wrap it up, Rocket League 2v2. Excuse me, choking on my own event here.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Will be May 30th. That sign-up registration and the rules should all be live in hopefully about 2 weeks. I know we got some fine touches to go in there and getting it all looking pretty before we release it to the public. So that'll be awesome. I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for Rocket League and for us to grow that scene. So that's just some CGL events coming forward. And now to probably everyone's favorite part of the show, where we just randomly talk about whatever is going on in the world.
You know what, Matt? I'm actually Witty, I'm gonna stop you here real quick, because there is one little piece that I just remembered that we didn't actually get in the show notes that I wanted to touch on.
All right.
Let's just call it Skate's fighting game update, his FGC update, as it were.
All right, I like it.
We needed like a whole promo that comes in and flies in. So I just wanted to update people on a few things. First and foremost, I don't know if you saw this. Friday night on TBS, they played Final Combat on TBS.
No way.
Yes, it was on TBS Friday night. So getting some exposure on the cable networks there was Final Combat. So you got to see Ninja Killa and Sonic Fox in that epic finale, and all the familiar faces on the stage. It was very, very cool to see.
That's awesome.
Everybody on TBS. So that's the first part. The second part, if people listen to the first episode that we came back with the breakdown, we did mention some Super Smash tournaments that we were going to be doing, the cash grabs. And we haven't mentioned them since. That is because we have, for the time being, had to postpone them due to some other events that are apparently happening at the same time. So with the whole COVID-19 thing going on, we have a lot more online presence coming on the Smash scene. So we're working through that. We're not canceling, we're postponing.
No.
So there's more coming up, and as soon as we have those details, we will get them out to you. Lastly, I don't know how many people saw this, but Nips had mentioned hinting at an Injustice 2 tournament. So those of you in the fighting game community that are Injustice players, keep an eye out, because we are working on something with Injustice 2 that'll be coming your way. I expect an announcement probably within the next couple weeks about when that's going to take place and what's going to happen with it. I'm pretty excited because I do not know anything about Injustice, but I do know everybody. You remember Witty from Final Combat. Everybody that played Mortal Kombat that was there for Final Combat, they all played Injustice 2. So it's all the same people. So it'll be very interesting to see how things go in that game, since I'm not very familiar with it. So yeah, just a few things to put on everybody's radar for the fighting game community, since we haven't been giving them much love. We do love the fighting game community, and we're working on things. So hopefully very soon we have some more news for you.
You're right, and I do want to, now that we brought up the FGC, Morden, who did work with us for some like console qualifiers when we were doing Console Combat 2.
Yeah.
He's running like a Mortal Mondays. That starts in a couple weeks, and I know me, Jay, and Just Buck, and another Arc Flash guy, Sherm. Desert Sherm out there, where we all signed up.
Oh, so, man. Buck's going to be there? Does that mean I have to sign up now?
You should.
Since Buck and I,
true.
we had an epic, I think it was 1st to 10 that we ended up playing, and I think it was 10 to 9 at the end of it.
Dude, we've been grinding MK lately.
I got a PS4 now.
You got the PS4 now. I went out yesterday and bought a 100-foot Ethernet cable because my modem is down on the floor below me. Yeah. And I was like, 50 or 100 feet. I wasn't sure, so I just went with the bigger one. I have way more than I could possibly ever need. But I'm excited. I know there's no Wi-Fi, so that's why I went out and got the Ethernet cable. Definitely been grinding at MK, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of familiar faces if you watch Console Combat. There's going to be a lot of familiar faces in that event that starts in like 2 weeks. So just wanted to put that out there, because especially if it's streamed and you see, one of the Arc Flash boys getting on stream, or Skate signs up and he gets on stream.
It gets bodied on stream.
I'm ready to get bodied. I do think the way I've been playing recently, I'd probably get like 2 hits on Gambler.
Calling him out.
If he ever listens to this,
he may. I know his mom shares the stuff on Twitter every time. So
Mama Gambler does.
Mama Gambler is big involved with that, and you know what? I mean, we might have to throw that together on stream. I'll talk to Gambler, see if we can't get that together.
Witty gets bodied by a pro. Let's do it.
Speaking of, I got to help him with his stream stuff. I forgot about that. I need to reach out to his dad again. He wanted me to help him work on some of his stream stuff. But,
No, look at that. Skate
Yes.
really is a man
Oh,
of the people,
speaking of
everybody.
pro tips, because you're talking about the Ethernet cable, for those people that may have issues where they can't get an Ethernet cable to their console, this is a Skate's pro tip of the day. Okay, there is a way to run an Ethernet cable a long stretch in your house without running an Ethernet cable. There is an invention called a Powerline Ethernet adapter. So it's a little box. I actually have one in the other room, and had I thought about this before, I could have brought it and showed you. But it's a little box you plug into your wall outlet. You plug it in next to like your router or just somewhere that you can run an Ethernet cable from your router to it. Then you go to the room you need the Ethernet in. You plug it into one of the wall outlets there. They sync up, and you run an Ethernet cable out on the other end to your device. It uses your home's power lines to transmit the Ethernet signal.
That's absolutely freaking crazy.
And this is how I can tell you how good it works. All the streaming I did before I moved into this complex here that I'm in, in December or February, I was using one of those for all of my streaming.
Okay,
so I was
it's
able
definitely
to
got the
play and stream all of Console Combat 2 on that connection. So it held up for all that. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow. All right. That's fantastic. That some technology doesn't work these days, but there's things like this, which
where you're like, why not? Why wasn't this a thing? Why didn't we think of this?
That's freaking crazy. I'm definitely going to have to look into that for sure, just because that just seems like you just need to have it. Wow.
Yeah, if you get
Even
a good
if you
one,
have good Wi-Fi, like that just.
Yeah, you just can't beat the Ethernet connection. And I tell you what, the one I had was I had one set that I ended up upgrading to a second set because it actually had 2 Ethernet ports on either end, so I was able to connect 2 devices. It was like its own hub built into it, and had a plug-in pass-through, so I didn't even lose the outlet.
Wow.
And we're talking like $100 for the set, like dirt cheap.
Crazy. Yeah, that's nothing. People, there's out there. Get that Ethernet connection. Get off
Yes,
Wi-Fi.
please get off the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So there's definitely some FGC stuff brewing along as well. In case you don't know, Injustice is like the DC comic book, like Mortal Kombat game. I know.
Yeah, fighting game based in the
Injustice 2
DC
has,
universe. Yep.
I know Injustice 2 has Sub-Zero and Raiden from the Mortal Kombat.
Does it? Okay, I wasn't sure what all crossovers there were. I knew there was a little bit in there, which is interesting. I know Joker was very popular in Injustice 2, so when he came to Mortal Kombat, that's why everybody was losing their minds. So,
so maybe it's crazy. You're gonna see some Joker, Batman, Joker, Superman. There's gonna be a lot of cool. Especially if you're a DC comic fan or just a comic fan in general, there's going to be some interesting matchups that you don't know if you ever would have saw, or you never really get to see
I'm pretty
two
excited.
Superheroes beat the crap out of each other. So
this is going to be awesome.
That'll be very fun.
I can't wait.
That'll be very fun, and the game looks really pretty. So I think aesthetically, that'll be a fun thing for us to stream.
Yeah, I can't wait to produce it since I have a PlayStation now.
Yeah. This man, locked and loaded.
I tell you what, I made Nips a very happy man by buying that PlayStation.
Oh, I'm sure. Does he know yet? Or
I told him, but he hasn't replied. I don't think he has shut his PlayStation off in a week and a half since Final Fantasy came out.
That's true. We gotta check on his eyes.
He made a brief appearance in our meeting Monday, and he was gone as quick as he was there.
I was like, "Hello, Final Fantasy VII. Okay, see ya."
Yeah. Like, see ya. Gotta go.
Sucked in. Hopefully, Nips is okay. He is still tweeting, so that's a good sign.
Yes, that's a sign.
Let's hope he showered.
Yeah, I hope he got that shower in.
He was talking about that shower. We do also hope everyone else out there is showering and maintaining good hygiene. Even if you can't travel, it's always good to smell well.
And you feel better.
Keep you happy. Make you feel better about yourself. Make things a little bit easier for you. So stay sanitary, people. That is
Please.
your PSA from Skate and I on the Breakdown Podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's venture off into our randomness of the program.
Of course.
And if you haven't noticed by now, people, we're going to talk a little sports because we're both big sports fans. So tonight, the ESPN is having their debut of I think it's like a 10-part documentary about the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, it covers all 6 championships, doesn't it?
All 6 rings. Definitely think there's a big focus on like that last year before, as any great dynasty does, falls apart at the end. Guarantee you right now they are developing a 30 for 30 about the New England Patriots. Guarantee you they already have that planned, considering that run and how long it was. But this should be very interesting. The Chicago Bulls, if you're not a basketball fan, throughout the 90s, they won 6. They made it to the NBA Finals
6.
Crap.
They made 6.
6 times. They went 6 and 6. That's right.
Thinking that I can't remember who the Rockets played in those 2 because that was the caveat between the 6 titles. They were broken up by 2 Rockets championships, led by Hakeem Olajuwon, and was Sam Cassell on that team too?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't remember. Did the Knicks make one of those? Maybe. I think the Knicks made one of those.
You might have.
I don't remember who made the other one.
The
Magic. Didn't the Magic go with Shaq? Yes, Shaq and Penny.
Penny's Magic team.
Yep, that's what it was.
Their one shot. And so if you missed that, or you're not a basketball fan and you only know Michael Jordan, 6 for 6 in the finals, but they had a three-peat. They won 3 championships in a row. Jordan retired to play baseball for 2 years.
Yeah, we'll say that's why he retired.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories.
I did hear there's mention of the fact that his retirement was basically, hey, Michael Jordan, we're going to suspend you because you're betting. Do you want to retire and kind of save face? I've heard that might be touched on in this documentary.
Oh, I've heard as much, because from what I hear, Jordan's not very happy about this. And that was the dark secret.
The directors was from Philly. That was the dark secret.
Like for a long time, that Jordan was actually kind of strong-armed into an early retirement, and this was the mid 90s where you could probably get away with something like that. This was, I mean, the internet was starting to bloom into a thing at that point, but it wasn't nearly what it was. We were talking like AOL CDs picked up at the grocery store internet type days. So you could probably sweep something like that under the rug. It was the last kind of days of that. So I'm curious to see how much they touch on that. Now, how are they releasing this? Is this like one a night? One a week? How are they releasing it? Do you know?
I think it is weekly.
So like a mini-series style then?
A mini-series style, but this was actually supposed to debut in mid-June. And then they moved it up to mid-May, and now they moved it up again.
Yeah, they got nothing else to do.
They got nothing else to do. So I don't know how many episodes of FIFA tournaments you can just show back to back
and replays of Rocket League or something. I don't know what else they're showing at this point. They should have picked up the Hearthstone that was going on today, because there was some great Hearthstone action on YouTube today that I was watching, primarily being a Hearthstone player. But back on that Bulls thing, if I know we have a lot of like a younger audience at the CGL, so a lot of people that may not be completely aware of the story, this will be very interesting to see. Check it out. You're going to learn a lot about sports in a different era, as it were, because the NBA in the 90s was something else. It was I miss the 90s NBA. It was a great time to be alive and to watch the NBA. Now, me being from Indiana, I loved the 90s in the NBA. We had the Pacers, which, still to this day, Reggie's my guy. He was the one guy. I put him up there with a few others as the best to never win a championship, and I personally put him above everybody else, but that's biased because I'm from Indiana. But yeah. Check that out. There's also the 30 for 30 Miller time about the the Pacers in the early 90s and the rivalry with the Knicks and
Knicks
and Spike Lee and the whole
Spike.
deal.
Oh man.
I mean, being a Pacers fan is rough, let me tell you. We've had to go through some eras. You and I briefly talked about this in Chicago, but through the 90s we had these great Pacers teams, and I can pretty much name the starting five right now to this day. But we had a stellar lineup, and unfortunately Michael Jordan was like in our conference, and we had to go through Michael Jordan, who won 6 titles. Then we had a young and upcoming Shaq that came through. And let's see, then we rebuilt the team in the early 2000s and had to go through the Pistons, which were another dynasty of their own. Yep. And now we've got to deal with LeBron James. So we've just been on the short end of a lot of good history.
That's true. It's the Pacers. The Pacers build a team.
Always
up
been
and have, like,
right there.
championship caliber, and then you run into just
Hall of Fame,
the star of the generation, the star of the era in their team.
It's
like,
been wild.
You had the Jordan Bulls, then everyone in the East ran into the Shaq and Kobe Lakers.
Yep.
And then the Miami Heat LeBron James squad, which those Pacers Heat series.
Oh my God, right? With Paul George.
With Paul George, you had
Lance all up in
LeBron's
LeBron.
ear.
Oh my word.
Just battles and battles.
And they all went like 7 games every time.
All 7 games. It was, I always hated, they had a couple that were Eastern Conference Finals, and they had like 1 or 2 that were in the second round.
Yeah, because of the way it broke down, like they were a 2
round.
and a 3, and they had to play each other before then.
Always hated that, because like, that's the series that winner of that is going to represent the conference in the finals. So when you don't get that in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's kind of a letdown. But
it's frustrating.
You're right. 90s basketball was the blend of the past and what you have now, because it's a very spaced chuck threes, like don't shoot a mid-range jumper.
My God, if you shoot a 15-footer, you're getting benched.
Unless you're Kawhi Leonard, because his are automatic. But
like 15 to 18-footer, no, it doesn't exist. That shot doesn't exist.
And the 90s, like Reggie Miller was,
and there's no post game anymore.
Shooter. No post game. You can post up, but even the guys that post up, like, okay, I'm a Sixers fan. Joel Embiid, if you look at the end of the year stats, he led the league in post ups, but it wasn't scoring out of the post a lot, or it wasn't, let's set the offense up around that. It's, there's a 6'5" shooting guard on Joel, he's going to back you down. That's what, but when the 90s and or even early 2000s, that era was dump it down to the post, let your guy work, and work. It was inside out compared to now, which is outside in, where just watch this documentary if you have any interest in basketball and you were born in 2000 or 2004.
Yeah, this was before your era. Learn a bit. This is really just some history of basketball in general and in American history too, because it was the talk of the town at that point. The NFL wasn't what it was right now. The NFL is king now. It was not so much the king back then. The NBA was more of the king back then.
So you're going to see a blend of 2 eras, leading with arguably the greatest player of all time and the greatest stretch of a dynasty that the NBA has. I can't say the NBA has never seen, because if you look at historically, the Lakers and the Celtics win 90% of the championships, but really the only team that's come relatively close was that Spurs team. That won like
the Duncan era.
Years.
Yeah.
The Duncan, Manu, and Tony Parker era, which, I mean, that's 5 and 9 years. Technically the Bulls won 6 and 8, but they had 2 3-peats, which is ridiculously hard
just
to
absurd.
do.
I mean, and then I don't know that we will ever see a 3-peat again, given the way the schedules and whatnot work. I think the Lakers in the early 2000s was the last 3-peat we will ever see. And God, I wish the Pacers could go back and run that set back one more time, because I still think Game 4 was this close. You go back 2-2. If it's 2-2 and you go back to Indy, that's a different series. That's all I'm saying.
I can't argue that. I can't argue that. I know in the 2000s, my Sixers only got there once. They stole Game 1 and then got destroyed.
You mean Allen Iverson stole Game 1?
Allen Iverson did steal Game 1.
Let's be honest. Like
that roster, oh my God, so bad. Matt Geiger, Dikembe Mutombo, Eric Snow, Aaron McKee.
Arguably the worst team to ever make the finals. Because AI just carried him. He just put him on his back.
AI went crazy, but that was such... Like, I'm sitting there at 10 years old, and I get to watch that run to the playoffs. A lot of the times, if you are a sports fan, the run to the championship is almost better than when you win the championship.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, winning the World Series in 2008 as a Phillies fan was awesome, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But that World Series sucked. But
same thing as a Red Sox fan.
Yeah,
04.
Exactly. Like
04, the Yankees series was it. The World Series sucked. We took the Rockies to the wood, or the Cardinals. I'm sorry, the Cardinals was that one, to the woodshed.
Cardinals to the woodshed. 4-0. No game was close.
No.
But you're right. That Yankees LCS down.
There's a 30 for 30 about that. If you guys have not seen that, oh my! And it is magical, that 30 for 30. Just the things that happened. I still to this day don't believe what I saw.
And as a guy that hates both New York and Boston, like, I watched that 30 for 30. I watched that series, and it was just... I was a Boston Red Sox fan for that stretch.
Oh, I think everybody was rooting for the Red Sox in that World Series after that.
Because everyone hates the Yankees.
Yeah.
The Yankees.
What a magical time. I'm gonna load up some 30 for 30s tonight, I think. I was gonna binge some Final Fantasy 7, but I'm gonna watch some Bulls doc and probably some 30 for 30s now.
ESPN does have incredible production value. The 30 for 30s hit it out of the park all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited for that. And another thing I think they're going to hit out of the park, along with the NFL Network, is the virtual NFL draft that is this Thursday.
Oh, I can't wait. For Roger Goodell's basement.
Roger Goodell's basement, I'm sure it's going to look incredibly ridiculously spectacular.
This is what I want. I want someone to clip me talking on this podcast right now and the quality that I have going and compare it to whatever the heck Roger Goodell has going on Thursday, and to see which one is superior, because I'm willing to bet that this is the same production value that he's going to give you Thursday.
I bet Goodell makes like $40 million a year, and I guarantee you it's just going to be a plain white wall and a fireplace. Yeah, I'm Roger Goodell. I have a fireplace in my basement.
I think there's going to be like some awkward lighting. He's going to be looking in the wrong spot. Like, it's going to be wild for like the first 5 or 10 picks. He's not going to know what to do. Like, because he's not, usually he walks up to a podium and has a card to read. Are we going to have a podium in the basement? Is he just going to be cut to like webcam sitting in a chair? What are we doing?
True.
I think you need to do the podium if you're going to do it, right? So that he's in that mode.
The podium.
I'm sorry. I have a high school teacher that would just berate me right now for calling it a podium. It is a lectern. You stand on a podium. You are behind a lectern.
The lectern.
Yes, that is the proper name for that.
That's your what you learned today.
I mean, Skate's teaching you all kinds of stuff on the breakdown this week.
He's the professor, the PhD. Skate action.
And not the player haters degree. Look at this. We made an hour out of this. Can you believe this?
Look at that. All right, so the last 2 weeks, we've both looked at the show sheet. Okay, this is going to be a short show. It's not bad. We have yard work to do, blah, blah, blah. Here we are, both episodes in an hour.
Yep. It is what it is,
I'm not complaining.
I'm not either. We just get going.
It flies by. We get going. That's why they wanted us to do this. They wanted us to do the breakdown because of this.
Yes.
You're not getting awkward air here, so you just know if once you hit that 40-minute mark and we get through the CGL topics, you're going to get some randomness. And
yeah,
if you listen to podcasts, that's always the best part of podcasts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta have that little end part where you're just kind of recapping some random stuff. But the thing I also tried to start doing last week was also putting time codes in these videos so that people can jump to individual topics. Because
awesome.
I know that the full show's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not offended by that in the slightest. No, I get it. We're not everybody's cup of tea, but there may be a topic you want to listen to. So there you go. You're going to get your little 5, 10, 15-minute snippet of whatever topic you are interested in hearing.
This man, I've said it probably 6 times already this episode. This man is the man of the people.
Working for you.
Working for you, CGO Universe. Or he's working for you. You don't even have to pay.
No. I mean, you can if you want. I accept money.
Sure, his DMs are open.
Absolutely. Sure. There's a donation link on the Twitch page for me if you need it.
Get this. Look at this man. Keep him happy.
Yeah, why not? Right?
But yes, that is Thursday. I will say this right now. Howie Roseman, stay at 21 and draft a wide receiver, or move up and draft a wide receiver. Get your quarterback a weapon. That's it. That's all. Roger
yes,
Goodell is
we're going to be fighting over the same target, I think, near the end of that first round. Because if we don't trade up, we got to have one available. God, I want Jefferson so bad. That's the guy I want.
I do too.
I want him so bad.
Ruggs would be my slight edge number 1, but I have said this, and I've said this for a while, and I do a Philadelphia Eagles podcast and some Eagles Red Zone. Let's hype that up too. It's Colin Cowherd's favorite podcast.
Yes,
he never misses.
It's on Twitter. He never misses it.
It's on Twitter. He never misses it. So there's my own self plug. But there's 4 wide receivers in this draft that I think if your team needs a wide receiver and you end up with one of those 4, you're going to be happy.
Okay, let's hear it, because obviously one's Judy.
I think Judy's the lock number 1. I don't think, unless you're top 10, that you're going to be able to get him. So
I don't think he gets out of the top 5.
Him. Yeah, he really shouldn't. I will say this. I somehow think the Washington Redskins, who would sit there pretty and take Chase Young number 2, I think
they're going to screw it up, aren't they?
To screw it up. I think they're going to draft a quarterback. It's something that's been in the back of my mind.
I hope they take 2 and number 2.
They're going to take 2 and number 2. I said it about, I think my Eagles podcast did a little draft free agency show like a month ago. Mm-hmm. And I said, just watch. It's the total Washington Redskins thing to do. If they sit there at 2 and draft Chase Young, they arguably have the best defensive line, or at least talent-wise, in football. Knowing the Washington Redskins, they'll draft a quarterback for the 2nd straight year in the first round. And
hey, at least they didn't trade 4 picks to get this one.
That's true. So it would not surprise me at all if the Washington Redskins throw a wrench into the whole draft and ruin it and draft a quarterback. That's just what they do. But I would go, wide receiver-wise, I'd go Judy 1, Ruggs 2, Jefferson 2A, and then
with the kid from Oklahoma, maybe.
Yes, CD Lamb.
Lamb, that's his name. Yeah, I think he's a stud too. He reminds me of a guy that plays for my Colts in T.Y. Hilton. He's just got that kind of speed and athletic ability. I think he's capable of that. Jefferson, the reason I've been so high on him, the SEC championship game, once the stuff I saw him do when he was covered, he was blanketed one-on-one that whole game, but still able to make every catch that was thrown to him. There's something about the way he's able to position his body and turn and get in the right spot that's, you just can't teach that. It's something that the player has to have a feel for, and he's got that. So you've already got a lot established with him ahead of time, and I think he's a lock to be a star.
And there is everyone, especially around here, keeps going, he's a slot guy, Dude can play the outside.
He can.
He was primarily a slot wide receiver last year because LSU has, over the last few years,
they've got 3 guys coming out. What do you expect?
Like Clemson and LSU have become wide receiver factories.
Yeah.
Where every year there's one or two guys like, okay, Clemson has T. Higgins in this draft, who's probably going to go first round, and he's like one of the ones in that second group of wide receivers. But it's every year that LSU and Clemson are just pouring wide receiving talent into the draft.
Yeah.
So, of course, if you have two guys that, I mean, Jefferson ran a 4.39. It's not like he's slow. But if you have two guys that are faster, of course, you're going to play them on the outside. But the year before, he played on the outside. And he's got a wide catch radius. He can run any route.
I just want a guy that can catch the damn ball. That's what I want.
Yes.
Like, at this point, just give me someone that can catch the ball. At a certain point, as long as you're under 4.5 for your 40 speed, I don't care.
Yeah,
it's all the same at that point.
Can he catch the ball?
Yeah, that's all I care.
It is odd how weird the similarities between the Colts and the Eagles are.
Well,
because
they were built essentially. The offenses were built by the same guy. Let's be honest.
Frank Reich wins the Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator with Doug Peterson here in Philadelphia. He goes to the Colts. I mean, sadly, yes, Andrew Luck retired, but both teams are, playoff bound.
We got Papa Rivers now.
Eagles won the Super Bowl. Now you got Papa Rivers. But last year, neither team could catch the ball.
No, could not catch the ball to save their lives.
And if you play quarterback, you'll look at the stats, especially if you play fantasy. You'll look at the stats. You'll look at interceptions and be like, oh, look at this. If the wide receivers catch the ball, I don't
know.
The Eagles probably don't need to go 9-7.
I don't know statistically, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. Was the leading receiver for the Eagles a tight end?
Yes.
I think the leading receiver for the Colts was Jack Doyle.
For Ebron.
So
Jack Doyle.
I think it was Doyle.
Both leading receivers, white tight ends.
Same team.
They're the same team. Carson Wentz did become the only quarterback to throw for like 4,000 yards without a 1,000-yard receiver.
Jesus.
Absolutely.
Slinging.
Absolutely crazy.
Straight slinging it. I love it. All right. Well, we're about out of time, bud. Woo! we went there. So let me pull up my notes here as I click around feverishly because I was alt-tabbing around and mess my things up here. But we're gonna wrap it up here. I think that's gonna be episode 3 in the books of the breakdown. Don't forget to follow all the social medias for the CGL. If you don't know where to find it, you're not looking hard enough because they're gonna be linked in the bottom of the YouTube video if you're watching this on YouTube. But Console Gaming LG on Twitter is the big one to go follow. That's where we post everything. Another big announcement as of this week, the breakdown is now going to be on Spotify and iTunes podcasts. So whatever podcatcher you use, I do have an RSS feed that I put in the description of the video as well. So if you have, like me, I don't use either one of those. I use an app on my Android called BeyondPod that I use. So I just rip the RSS feed, throw it in there, and download my podcast. So all that's available if you're on iTunes. Go check us out and make sure to rate and review the podcast. It helps people find us in searches and helps it move up the ranks, as it were, to maybe expose some people outside of the general CGL audience. And that's kind of the point of this, is we want to get that word out to you guys, but also grow the CGL audience at the same time to people that maybe don't know who we are and aren't aware of us yet.
Couldn't say it any better myself, brother. They're all over the Discord channels too. All the social information's there. So if you I think the only thing we don't have is a TikTok.
Yet. No.
It could be coming.
Probably not. I don't think
any of us are cringeworthy enough to.
Oh, I'm cringeworthy enough. Don't get me wrong. I just don't have the time.
You got to dedicate yourself to the TikTok. It seems that's what people are doing.
Yeah, it really does.
But we do want to thank everyone for listening. We will be back next week for episode 4 of the Breakdown Podcast. Make sure to rate us, like us, comment, ask us questions if you want.
Absolutely.
We're here for you. We do want to thank you for the support and the continued growth of the show. It's always a fun time. For Skate, I am Witty. stay on the lookout, sign up for those events. We'll be back next week to wrap it all up for you and bring you more news. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Stay safe. Breakdown Podcast, we're over and out.